zvinofana kuchinjwa. Zvinofana kuchinjwa, but do you have enough money to cover for all those long-term plans? Kana kuti ndichaenda pa-retirement, do I have the money to cover me kana ndapa-retirement? As a person again, unofana kuzviita assess kuti how much debt do you have as a family? Kuti mari yatimbori nayo as chikwereti mumba muno imari. Just kuona kuti unenge unowedza kuzviassessa kuti hausiri overburdened nedebt here, because the problem inoitika ukawa too much debt zvainoita ndeyekuti inokuita restrict zvekuti iwo unozoguma mumba chaimo munogona kutadza kutsawirirana mafamilies munhu kana paita zvikwereti, because constantly maakutoita ma-arguments kazhinji anoitwa mukati memafamilies anoita emanate panyaya dzemari. Saka tikaavoida kuva too much debt zvinotibatsira. Also, do you have enough insurance cover for unseen circumstances? As mudzimai anemba yake unofana enough insurance to cover unseen circumstances. Kune zvinhu zvinoitika zvanambotaura zviya, unogona kurwara, unogona kungofa suddenly, kana kuti unogona kungodiagnoswa, kana kuti unogona kungobuda basi, kana kuti laid off pabasa. Zvinhu zvakadaro izvozvo, do you have the insurance to cover those unseen circumstances? Because hatifani kungoplana, tinofana kuplana ahead, not just ma-ad hoc ngoti zvinhu zvangodai tomorrow will see for itself. So ndo imwe attitude inogona kuita vanhu kuti vanhu vanofunga kuti kuplana is not hazvisiri biblical, but you need to plan for you to success. You have to plan. So if you want to assess your financial standing or your financial well-being, I'm not gonna go up that link www.bankofireland.com financial well-being. Kuvunza ma questions, then you try to answer those questions as truthful as possible. Then you get the answer to financial well-being yakaita say. So it will guide you. I really need a financial advisor, or am I doing okay? That is a tool which you can actually assess your own financial well-being. Then management of family finances. Iroro ibasa rakatokura pacharo kuwa manager of finances, because manager ma finances kuno ma headaches kunechi, but you have to understand your spending patterns. Just see your spending behavior yako. Iyo munhu ukatarisa bank statement rako rega rinogona kusakudza kuti uri kuspenda zviri wisely, but chimwe chinhu chakanaka paunenge utreka, try to track all your spending, because especially by management of family finances is not all about the income, because the income unogona kusawa much of the control, but you can have much control on your spending. So you just have a habit of keeping receipts of all your expenses, not just tracking your bank statement, but just have those actual receipts. So when you sit down, we all take some receipts. I would have bought this thing chili cheaper, which means that you know bank statement expensive ndechi, maybe in a month or two out of zuti ndechi. In ndakazvitanda pakata bank Ulster Bank going out of Ireland. So I'm watching move direct debits or whatever a new bank. Ipapo ndakamboda kumuva eze zvaizve kuti unomuva ese akadaro, but ndakati regai ndimbonyatsoona kuti zvinhu zvese zviri kubuda muaccount chii, which means kuti handinoda kuita zvekumuva at once. Ndakaita zvekumuva one by one chiona kuti do I really need this, which means ndada kutanga kuti subscription ndinoida here. Do I need this? Do I need this direct debit? Mamwe achina kuti unoti wakasoita direct debit ameno some years ago, but chinhu chacho hausitombochishanda ndopo. Saka dzimwe nguva zvakanaka kuti uite go through your bank statement and see kuti direct debits arimo, do you really need those direct debits? You should have goals and you should keep focused to those goals, because most of the time my expenditure I do tinoatarisa kuti ninge aita chakati ini ndira kuitawo chakati, saka ninge akaita chakati, which means we are trying to compare zvaitwa nomwe munhu. Zvakanaka kuziva kuti ninge aita chakati and you are aspiring to do something like that, but plan for it. Usangozviite zviri hastily. Just plan for that, to say, oh, I really need ningakatenga mota yakadai kana kuti akaextend mbeke zvakadai. I actually need something like that. Then you plan for it and you save for that. And panoti unongomhanya kunoku chakakanakira kana kuti kushatira ndekuti zvikwereti zviri so easy. You can just go in the bank to say, oh, ndila so much. They just assess your income and all that of what on the you can get chikwereti hazvinyanyonetsa, but izvozvo hazvinetsi futi kuti uve nechikwereti zvausingazokwanisi kubhadhara kana kuti zvausingazogari uri comfortable. You won't be comfortable having those chikwereti. Kuti musiponofa maybe chikwereti you are looking at vana instead yekuti vakutotarisa kuti kunowanwa kutovatera nenyaya yezvikwereti. But we need to just run away from chikwereti. Set out budget for the month. Every month, just having a habit of having a budget and try and stick to that budget. But atisuti budget inofana unge chiku restrictor to do some of the things which come in, because pane zvimwe zvinhu zvinoita come in count to someone rings you from Zimbabwe or whatever. Panopaita problem, ndaitawo problem yakadai ndoda kubatsirwa, but it's not on your budget. It doesn't mean you have to strict, you have a flexibility, a leeway. Even on your budget, you can actually put aside some things of those, say anything in miscellaneous, which means it's something changweta crop up, which means that you can still help, or you can still give to someone when you are still within your budget. Because you're not going to flex your budget a little bit. How do I draw up a monthly budget? I'm just going to go through Jean Chitaura. So I'm just going to go through Jean Chitaura quickly. Go through your 3 months bank statement or credit card. It's not a rule, but it's just a way of trying to have a realistic budget. Go through 3 months of your bank or credit card statement. You want to see how much you want to see the income, you want to see expenses, which means you are actually going to say what income is there divided by 3, because dimengwa shanda mashis pay up my hourly rates, which means depending on how many hours you have worked. So masala yeni mali yako inogolonge chisiana month by month. So apolongo wana in average, which means that you are saying 3 months income divided by 3, well, on average, which means you are setting up a budget. That's your income. My expenses are, you are looking at each expenses and which one of my expenses you are my expenses you are imari. Wakufana kurenga my expenses are all now per my statement count per credit card statement. Just rank those expenses by importance. Kuti chiri important the cheap, which means that you are putting them into groups of either a want or a need, because in life we have wants or we have needs. Needs, which means we need things like a mortgage, things like rent, mortgage or rent, bills, let us say electricity, gas, things like that. Of course, we have ones maybe hairdo, movies, you're going eating out and all that, those things. So some of those things are wants, and you not depend a foot with your own situation. Chinonzi want nomwe munu is a need. Nechinonzi need kunomwe munu kwa munu is a want. So it depends on your own circumstances. My circumstances, as an individual, you should know what is what a want to you, what is a need to you. A need is something which you can't do without, and a want is something which you can actually do without. Then what my totals are compare now your income and expenditure, which means expenditure is actually coming to yakawanda. You need to cut back on those things like wants. You can't actually cut on the need, but you have to cut back on the ones so that you have a realistic budget. You know, on that budget, how much are you putting on the budget for saving? How much is left for saving? You need to put something for saving on the budget. Zvinhu zvimwe zvekuti isusu hatiwanzokoshesa saving, asi saving chinhu chakakosha. Ini ndinoona chakandikoshera kuti dzimwe nguva ndinogona kutadza kuseva kana ndosaka dzimwe nguva ndichifarira zvekuti vanhu tinoita magroups ekuti tokandirana mari. I know sometimes it's risky and all that, but unoona kuti kana muita around yekukandirana mari, that money is a way of saving, which means that you have to save that money. It's not just like a game of play around, but you actually have to put that money into use. At the end of kind of evaluation, what did this group then there's this rule, apply on a Bank of Ireland, apply a 50-30-20 budgeting rule, which means your 50% of your take home should be, of your income should be for needs, which means 50% of your net income should go to things like mortgage, rent, mageti, things like that. Then 30% of your take home should go to ones, which means 30% per income yako yoenda kuma ones. Yekuti unogona kuaita kana unogona ukasaita, it doesn't have much impact on your life or on your family's life. Then 20% of your take home income for savings. So we should make sure that this is a rule in financial institutions. So a financial institution, if it's giving that rule, we have a 50-30-20. So I urge you ladies that we try and follow that rule to say 20% of my income. So let's say an example of a disposable income of 3,000. We are saying a take-home income of after tax and all those things, 3,000, which you have in your bank account after each month. Then you are saying for the needs, 1,500 goes towards my needs. Then 30%, which will be 900, is going towards my wants, and savings, which means you are taking 600 into your savings account or into your deposit, whatever savings you have put into place, you use 600 on savings. This is just an example, but that rule, if you try to apply that rule, myself, I've always tried to use this rule in my daily life, and I've seen that it actually works, and it actually goes a long way. It actually changes your life. Just small things like that. Right, or but if you follow those things, I tell you, in 2-3 years time, you actually see a difference in your financial well-being. Then the other thing, before we actually go into saving, because we're not going to talk about my savings, but it doesn't make sense starting to save before you actually do away with debts, because debts come with interest, and debt interest is higher than savings interest. So if when you want to start saving, the first thing you need to do is to manage your debt. So you have to check if you have any missing repayments. if you are paying, we are paying, you having your payments late, that signifies that you are not doing well on the debt, you are not managing your debt properly. So this is going to affect your credit rating. Credit rating is something like when you need money, the institution will have to see whether you are credit worth. Then we have a central credit register which has up-to-date records of everyone. If you have gone to take a loan or whatever, you are on that record. So you can actually check your report on the central credit register link, and I say uripa standing yakaita say, just check, you just put your details, put your name there, your PPS, your what, you come up with your report to say, are you managing your debt properly? So managing, if you don't manage your debt, your mental health is actually affected, and also you have problems in the family. I've said that before. So try by all means to be debt free. So if you want to go towards saving, the first thing is to tackle your debt, because I've actually said this before. You have money in credit unions. I've seen people, they go and borrow credit union. They have actually shares, which are savings in the credit union, and you are actually borrowing what is less than your shares. Let's say you have 15,000 as shares in your credit union account, and you need 10,000. You are going to take a loan against that, yet you can actually withdraw from those savings, because when you are taking the loan, you are actually incurring interest on your own money. So which doesn't actually make sense, which means what we have to do is just take from your savings. So I urge people to just look, if you have any money in savings, especially credit unions, and you have a loan, just go and repay that loan, because you are just paying for interest whilst you actually have that money. Or if you have money somewhere and you have a credit, we have a credit card. Credit cards are some of the culprits. To me, like myself, nowadays I don't use a credit card because I'm not disciplined enough. So I don't use credit cards. I use just a debit card, because if you have credit card, you are better off paying every month. You clear that, then you can use the credit card. Then that very month you clear it. The moment you accumulate money in a credit card, the interest is so high, and it means you will always be in debt. So I've just said ways to clear debt. How do you clear debt? There are two methods apply. The other one is snowball, the other one is avalanche method. That comes from Bank of Ireland as well. So snowball method, it means you are actually tackling your debts from the smallest amount, which means if you have, you list your debts in priority of debt, or in priority of, or maybe in order of from small to largest. So from there you say, I want to clear this one. So if you have a loan with maybe credit union, that's the first one. Just clear that debt. You know, you cancel. You list if you have your list, you have your list there and put it there. The moment you clear that, you go to the next one, you clear that. If it's a card or whatever, if a credit card, just shred that credit card and throw it away. Then you go to another one. If it's a bank loan, you just do that until you finish all your debts. Maybe a debt which we can not maybe clear off is a mortgage, of which it's a need. You need to be you need housing or whatever. So it's a matter of just in order of that. But there's another method which you can use, which means you are tackling the debts which have highest interest to the lowest interest. So if you know, some people, you don't even know what's the rate of the interest of your debt. So you just go to your loans and see what's the interest on these loans. So you rank those debts into the highest on top, which means you are starting to tackle the highest interest rate. You go down, then you are left with the one with the lowest interest rate. So in doing that, you are actually reducing the interest, because interest is actually something which people don't really see. When you go for, maybe you are buying a car, you don't even calculate how much is interest. You are better off saving and then going to buy your car cash, or maybe put a large lump sum on your deposit, so that whatever is left is manageable. The interest which you pay, if you just work out the interest to say this is how much this car is costing and how much is your interest. And on top of that, you can also, if you are buying that in cash as well, you can get a cash discount, which means it's an opportunity which you are foregoing, which you should add to the interest. The interest which you are paying, and that opportunity you have lost for paying cash is there. So it means you are adding to say this is the cost of the total cost of the loan. It's not only the interest, but the opportunity of you buying that thing is a cash, which means you might actually have a discount on that. Then after you have tackled your debt, you no longer have your debt and all that, you should save for rainy days, whether you have debt or not, but you still have to save for rainy days. This covers for any unexpected. Experts suggest that a person should have savings which should cover 3 to 6 months of your essential expenses. Let's say I've lost a job today. I should be able to live the same way, maybe without the ones, but the essentials, I can be able to pay for the essentials for the coming 3 to 6 months. So you have to add up your essential expenses, those needs, and say when you are saving, you should have a savings which is put aside for 3 to 6 months. I would suggest we will start maybe with 3, then you just build up to 4 months to 5 months, but usually for 6 months. So if you are looking for a job in that period, you can be able to, which means you don't have actually a heartbreak to say, oh, this thing has happened, what am I going to do? You are still, you have 6 months of still continuing your normal life. Maybe it's only a few things which you are going to do without, which will not affect your life. So savings should build gradually over time. It's not like you have to start small. I always refer to we have a burial savings club, which I am in, where we actually we started paying 50 euros a month, and now we are paying 100 euros a month. And when I'm looking at how much that amount has grown up, it's like whoever is paid up is almost maybe 8,000 or so, which means it has gradually grown over the years, which means you actually have your savings. From those savings, maybe you now want to look at what am I going to do with these savings, because you have done so, you actually have your savings which will grow over time. So in trying to save, the best way to do is to set a direct debit, because you have your long-term plan. You now want to start saving. Just do a direct debit, maybe a direct debit of 20 euros or 50 euros for a start, or so, depending on your income, whatever, because usually it's not that you don't need something which is going to strain you. You just have to have something which doesn't strain your budget, so that it depends on your own income. So your income level, your circumstances, and all those. Some people don't have from them or whatever, but they just it's just themselves and their family. But some people we have extended families and all that, so situations in life are different, so you have to set up your deposit, your savings depending on your own circumstances. Any interest on deposits accounts, you can put it in deposit accounts, but those interest, there's not much interest, but it's something. It means, but you have that money in, it's earning a little bit of interest there. If anything happens, you can still fall back on it. So you should also save for long-term plans like pensions. We are now growing old. Sometimes it will come that we won't be able to go to work. We won't be able to do those extra shifts because we are now getting old. So you should try to do pension. For young women, I urge you to start your pensions young. Pensions are very good for growing up, because it's like when you are growing up, it means you are paying a small amount of money, but those funds, they grow so much. So it means at the end of at the retirement stage, you actually have something to fall back on. You still live your normal life. So if you are going for pensions, what I should ask you is, you need a financial advisor to guide you in which pensions, which suits you, which suits your circumstances. So what you need to do is talk to a financial advisor. Like myself, I always have a financial advisor. If anything changes in my income, if I have more income, I go to a financial advisor. I have an extra 10, whatever, 2,000, whatever. What can I do with this extra money? Then he can advise me. Is either maybe put more on your mortgage or put more on your pension, because the financial advisors, they are always looking that they're always looking they're always looking into the financial markets for any opportunities. So that's their job. That is what they do for a living. So if they are financial advisors, they will be able to. You should have a financial advisor. You don't pay for that financial advisor, because the financial advisor is paid by where, even say if you are taking a pension through Zurich, the Zurich is the one who pays that money. It's not you who is going to pay. So yeah, when I look at pensions, state pensions at the moment, they are 12,636. So you should also look at when you come to retirement age, are you going to survive on 1,000 a month? Are you going to survive on 243 per week? So depending now on your circumstances, if you think that state pension is enough for you, that's fine. But if you go back to our theme verse, you should leave inheritance for your children's children, because state pension will also stop when you die. The day you die, that's when the state pensions end. It's not going to go beyond, going to go to your children. It's not going to go to your grandchildren. So it's just going to end where you are going to die. So I just advise you to say, talk to your financial advisor and see if you have enough pensions. I know there's people working the HSC. There's good pension in HSC, and I think when you work for HSC, you are not allowed to go on another pension. You cannot contribute to another pension, but there are other products where you can actually contribute to, because it's a good pension for the government, but you can go to, if you talk to a financial advisor, there's a way you get those pensions. And also it's also tax saving on your pensions, which you pay. If you are on a 40% bracket, that means that's a 40% which you are saving on tax, which will increase your disposable income. So you have to decide whether to save or to invest. So in saving, there are low returns. very minimal, especially in this kind of very minimal returns. Then is access to cash, but the good part is that you have easy access to cash. You can get your cash anytime. It's good on one hand, and it's bad on another hand, because you might not grow that money because you can just easily go and take it. Then it has very low risk. There's no risk in savings actually, and you can earn an interest, just low return, but you can earn something. On investing, we are looking at long-term goals, so it means it's long-term. It's not a short-term thing. When you are looking at investing, then it takes time to get the money out. So let's say you no longer want those investments, you just want something else. It will take time for you to get that money out, because sometimes sometimes they are fixed. Some are fixed terms, and sometimes for you to withdraw, they might need about 3 months or so, or some need 6 months to withdraw. So it's something which cannot get money out easily. It always involves risk. So if you are prepared to invest, you should be prepared to take risks. And when you are getting an investment policy or whatever, you are told that you have the risk of actually losing all the money or some of the money. So depending, they can give you a prism, whatever they give you to say to tick whether to assess your risk profile. Some people don't mind risk, because the higher risk you go, the higher returns you get. The low risk you want, the low returns you get. So it all depends, and some just mix those portfolios. It's a mixed bag. Some are risky, some are not risky. So depending, an investment manager or a financial advisor will be able to actually tell you which are the risks. Are you willing to take this risk? So there are some investments which are actually risky. Then, but there are earnings potential, which means if you are saving, you are saving for the raining days. When you are investing, you are actually going further than just saving. It means you are investing for future, which means your money is actually making money whilst yourself, whether you are going to work or not, the money is making money whilst you are just sitting. You are not doing anything, but money will just come whilst you are sitting. So it's something which you should also consider as we grow old. So these are some of the the investments. I'm just mentioning them. I'm not going to go into detail with them, because I don't have full information on that. Because when I go to those things, when I'm talking to my own financial advisor, he only advise me on this, and sometimes I don't even pay attention on what I only know is there's someone who is looking after this. There are stocks and shares where these ones, you can't actually do it on your own, because some people do it on their own, but it means you are constantly looking at what shares, what have gone up, what has gone down, how are these stocks, which companies have got shares, which shares are going up, which shares are dropping. So it's a lot of work to do. It just needs those people who are trained to do that, who can track those stocks and shares. And there are some people who just work for doing stocks and shares. They know they'll be moving your shares from, if these shares go down, they move those shares to another, they buy and sell those shares. So that's the way how we get that, you get your own money. So your portfolio actually increases because of that. So if you talk to a stockbroker, or if you talk to your financial advisor, they will be able to give you direction. Retirement plans. Retirement plans are very important. I've mentioned that before. We need retirement plans for when we get older, so that it means we are not actually burdening our own children. We are not actually burdening our own grandchildren. which means if it's a care package for myself, a care package for your husband, care package for whoever, it means our retirement plans should take that into account, so that it means the next generation, our generation, the next generation coming, they are just adding up on what we've done. So it means we will end up having a generation of prosperity, which means let's that start with us trying to improve ourselves, and then not only improving ourselves, but also improving the generation to come. Let's not just look at ourselves and use all your money we have and just have that money and no, not chambo ya finance, but ya finance kwakanaka, but also look at the future. Kune anonzi bonds. Those are type of investments as well. I will not go into detail in that. I don't have much information on that. I'm just asking you to go and research on those things. You cannot do that on your own. Just look for a broker, just look for investment. There are so many investment companies in Ireland there, which you can actually, they can actually assist you in that. Then there are multiple asset portfolios, which means your money, you can say, oh, I have this 20,000. What can I do with the money? You don't want to put it in one bag. So they will put it in different portfolios, which means it's less risky, because if something fails, something will be covered by, so it's a matter of diversification on that one. So a broker also will tell you what to do with that, because sometimes you get maybe you not actually pension, but let's say you are working and you are laid off and you are given a package. If you are given a package, the best way to do when you have your package in hand is the best way is look for a financial advisor, because on your own you won't be able to make decisions which will further that package forward. Sometimes you can actually use it, and then at the end of the day, you'll be surprised where that money is gone. Then you should be prepared for the worst. The worst always come in our lives. Lives have got ups and downs. We are faced with illness, we are faced with injuries, we are faced with death and all those things. So we should be able to prepare for anything which comes. Take out insurances to cover for serious illnesses or injury. This is known as income protection insurance. So it means if I'm not able to go to work because of injury, my policy will be able to actually pay me the amount of money which I've always been paid. So that's very good for people, whether injury can be at work or not at work. So, or illness, you can be diagnosed with a serious illness. But if you have income protection, it means the worry you have is of your illness. You are not worrying of the money. What's the family going to feed on? Which means even recovery comes easier because you are actually not having too much worries. But now, the first thing when someone is injured or someone is diagnosed, you are thinking of your children. You are thinking of the mortgage. How am I going to pay this? How am I going to pay that? How am I going to do this? Why? Because we are not protecting ourselves. We need to protect ourselves. Take out income protection. It's a very good cover for someone who is working. It means you still lead your own life. Then you also need insurances when death comes. You are the main provider. It means the family is still covered. They don't have the love of a mother or the love of a father, but they still have that love in terms of the money which we have left. So if you have an insurance which covers everything for your kids, it means when you die, those kids are still going to have the same life they had when you are still there. What they are lacking is just you, as the love of your father, the love of your mother. But in other things, they're still going to school, they're still going to have food on the table, they're still going to have shelter and all that. So for for those with young children, young mothers, young fathers, I urge you to take what is called term life cover. There's what is called term life cover. Term life cover is, it might say, let's say you have kids, or so it means maybe your last kid, when your last kid is 20 years. So it means you might take a just insurance of up to 20 years to say, if anything happens within these 20 years, you will get such amount. It means your kids are still covered because it's a term life cover. It just covers you until all your children are grown up, which means all the expenses for your children, your school fees, anything for the children is covered because we have a term life cover. It will expire after the 20 years. After the 20 years, if you didn't die, that's it, it's finished. Some people take it to say it's not good, but I think that cover is good, especially for young couples. You actually know, let's say, I wouldn't say, but sometimes, you know, you have heard of maybe people in accident occurred, the father and the mother died on the spot, or if the family, the father, the mother, or even the brother, the sister, and maybe what is left is what is left are only children. They don't have brother of their father or sister to the mother because they are all dead. But now, if we have that term life cover, that will cover for their needs. They might not cover for that won't cover for the loss of the mother or what, but that will cover for them to still go ahead, which means if it's a legacy, it's still there to leave whatever the inheritance to the grandchildren is still there because those children are covered. Then we have whole life cover. Whole life cover is only payable after one dies. The day you die, that insurance matures. So depending on how much are you thinking you want to live, that and it depends on your circumstances as well. Do you want to leave a legacy to say, oh, kwakaita mbuya hamufari vakambenge vari kuIreland, tinongodzwa kuti vanga vari kuIreland, saka vanhu vagere zvakanaka kuti this came because of just to be written in the history of your own generation, kuti ndo pazvakatangira, vanhu vaitoonera pasi vaitidii, but because of this person we actually had changed our own life. Then you have funeral policy. Funeral policies are very good to have because these are going to cover for funeral expenses. I think before, when I did this topic again, I talked about there's a funeral policy. I think they actually cover from here. If you need to be buried in Zimbabwe, it should be not just a wish to say, I want to be buried in Zimbabwe. Yes, you are not putting in place funds for you to go to Zimbabwe. So what you need to do is take a policy. There is a policy which can link from here. Then in Zimbabwe, they link with it's either Doves or what's this? There's this popular funeral for policy funeral home in Zimbabwe. Nyaradzo. Yeah. They can be linked to Nyaradzo as well. So you take it as a policy. So that policy, let's say, like myself, what I did, the policy, I took a policy with Zurich insurance policy. So that policy is not given to me, but it's you seed your policy to a funeral home, like the Massey Brothers, that's where my policy for a funeral policy is. So that the day I die, it means someone goes to, I don't actually have the policy. The policy is Massey Brothers. What you need to go to Massey Brothers. They will say, oh, we have this policy. So they do all the funeral policy, repatriation, everything. And also that policy also covers for Warukwenda Unochema. Some people are covered there. So I might not have the names of the people who will be accompanying there, but there will be people, 2 or 3 people are covered on my policy. You can put in whatever number of people you want there, who actually be, their air tickets will be actually also covered on that funeral policy. And it's not that much. The time I took it, it was about 13 euros a month. So and it actually goes up because of inflation, because by now I think it's around 23, 24 euros a month. So it's not something which actually breaks the bank, but it's something which you know you are actually covered. The day you die, you don't have problem. My kids have no problem. My husband has no problem, because I have that policy. That policy is going to cover me. Then it also gives peace of mind kunaonenga wasara as well, because vanhu havazotanga kuti todi tozodai todi but people just know kuti this person is covered. So I just urge you, I know talking of a funeral policy is so tough. Myself, I had hard time to do it, even when I was shown the code. These are the coffins. Can you choose? I didn't even want to look at the coffins anyway, because I didn't visualize myself in a coffin. But that's the truth. One way, one day or the other, we are going to die. So let's just get prepared on that. So these are useful resources which you can actually go in and check on well-being. I've talked about the well-being, looking at your financial well-being on Bank of Ireland. You can go on to citizens information. Citizen information tells you your rights and your entitlements, because sometimes you're actually losing out on income which we can actually get from the state or from anywhere. But if you go into citizen information, or if you have a problem, you can actually go into that website and see if there's something which you can actually get help from that. Then there's independent information on consumer issues, like let's say there's an issue, you can go onto that, especially on refunds of like air tickets and all that, anything to do with buying and all that. You are not satisfied, you go to that website, you get information. On the revenue website, for your tax queries, that's the revenue website. You need to go into your account, and what most people are losing out is claiming their tax credits and all those things which you are entitled to. You can actually use some accountants can actually do that for you. They can actually, if you are not able to do, or if you are, they can tell you how to do that, so that you do your returns in time, you get your claims, and that's an extra income which you can put on savings or investments. Then on choosing health insurance, you can actually compare health insurance plans for people who want to health insurance, so that you don't have waiting periods, especially if you are waiting for, if you need an operation or bed or whatever, you might be waiting for too long. But if you have a private health insurance, there are plans on www.hia.ie. You can actually go on that website and check which insurances are actually cheaper. Then not actually cheaper, but which are affordable. Then you have also on your pensions, you can actually go on Pension Authority website and look at the pensions which are available in Ireland. So you can go on that and look if you can get any pensions which you can, which can meet your Then you have on the pensions, before you actually go to speak to an pay advisor, you need to read about that. It means when you are talking to him, you have questions to ask as well. Then if there are some welfare services, especially when someone loses a job or someone doesn't have a job, you can go on to www.mywelfare.ie and go on to, you get what you can get there from the range of services which can help you in that. Then the last topic I'm going to talk about is about successions, the rights to succession in Ireland. So we are talking about wills and all that, to say we have done everything, we have planned, you have done your budgets, we have done your savings, we have also invested. And for the thing to come to pass, to leave your inheritance to grandkids, to children of children of children, which means you should have something in place. You should have a will, which actually says what you want to do when you die. Because I know most people think that having a will is not good, or people don't just want to talk about will, and they think that maybe it's not biblical, or it's not being Christian like whatever. But you will be surprised what happens when you die. Even people who are so close and all that, things change when someone dies. And we have seen, especially in our culture, people fighting and all those. Why are they fighting? Because you didn't put things in place. So if you are someone who is organized, you need to put your things in place before you actually die. Because when you die, things might go different, where your children might not even inherit, or there might be even fighting among children as well. So we need to put our things in order. So I urge you women to actually have legal advice on this. You need a lawyer to draw up your will, because most wills, people, I want to say, I was ill one day and I thought I was dying. Then I just took a piece of paper and I wrote whatever I wrote on that paper. I was in pain and I thought, I don't think I will be alive the following day, the time of, that time of COVID. And I put that piece of paper under the pillow. Those things, they might be thrown out in court. Because one, you are writing that will whilst you are not mentally well, and anyone can actually write it and put it under your pillow. So you need something which is legal, and maybe something which you can actually sign, even if you're husband and wife. You need to have that in both of you to sign, because sometimes when I go and make my will, and Mr. Mtamiri will come and say, no, I don't agree to that. It means that will is contested and the court is going to decide. So in Ireland, the inheritance of a person's property or on death, it goes to this, what they call Succession Act 1965. You need to read that act. Some parts of that act, maybe it's a huge document, and sometimes you just need someone to interpret that for you, because it's very difficult. The law, you need someone who did law to actually interpret what that Succession Act means. But that Succession Act is always overrides in case of wills being disputed. In cases where there is no will, that Succession Act is used. And especially if that act, also the will is, they will actually look at the will, and if it doesn't make any sense, it will end up going to that. They will actually, the courts will use the Succession Act of 1965. There are amendments and all that. So we are talking of things in our era is a little bit different. We have Zimbabwe, we have Ireland. So we have assets in Zimbabwe, we have assets in Ireland. So it means those ones in Zimbabwe might not make your estate in Ireland. So it means it will be, we need inheritance law in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, it's very difficult. I tried to look up Zimbabwe. They always change. Whoever is doing the law, they only do the law to suit themselves. If they have two wives, they will say, oh, small houses can actually inherit, and all. So it always changes depending who is sitting on top of that legal act. So you always have to review the legal impact in Zimbabwe, how those things distributed. So what you need a will for Ireland and a will for Zimbabwe. If you have two lives, you have a life in Zimbabwe, you have a life in Ireland, we need two wills, and those wills should be legal, not just a piece of paper. Under the Succession Act, the surviving spouse or civil partner has the right to a share of whoever when one dies. The legal right share for a husband is, in most cases, is half of the estate. If there are no children, the husband gets half of the estate, or the wife gets half of the estate. If there are children, it means the spouse is going to get 1/3 of the estate, and it means 2/3 is going to go to the children. So if you have a will and your will clearly states whatever, and you agree between husband and wife, they will just do it according to the will. So if you just need to have a will so that your will be done. Especially the people in second marriages or people with children outside marriages, you really need wills, because you'll be surprised that Succession Act doesn't include children who are out of marriage or out of relationships. Those children are not catered under that Succession Act of 1965. So if you are married, you had a child, your child is not actually covered under that act. So you need to make a will so that you may make sure that your children, all your children are covered and you are in agreement. There are no surprises the day you die. Spouses and civil partners are not liable for capital acquisition tax. That's the one good thing. So if you are inheriting from your spouse, you are inheriting from your civil partner, there is no tax implication. But when children are inheriting, there is a capital acquisition tax, which is also going to be levied, especially in Ireland. So on the wills, I am not going to say much on it. I think I've said too much on it already, because it's quite a subject which people really don't like to go into, because people just think people will do the best interests when you die, but it's not the case. People might actually do the opposite from what you are expiring. So if you need to leave your inheritance to the children of your children, make sure you make your will in front of a lawyer, and the lawyer will help you to actually draw your will. So I think I've said too much. I'm concluding in my concluding remarks. In all things which we do, whether financial, whether inheritance, whether whatever, God is the source of everything. So we should not, we should always know that God is the author and finisher of our life. So We go to Matthew 6, verse 33, which says, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. So what needs to be done is when you are all doing all these things, if you have seek God first, all these things will be added unto you. So it means whatever plans you are doing, they are going to flow because God is behind all those plans. So in another way, I'm just saying as well, in your budgeting, planning, there is giving is essential. Luke 6, verse 38, give and it will be given to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. For investments to actually succeed in whatever, you also have that principle of giving. It will work toward, actually when you are actually a giver as well. It's giving to God, giving to other people who are in need, giving to family and all that. You need to have a culture of just giving where there is need. So if we have a culture of giving where there is need, all our savings, all our investments, those things will be multiplied and will be pressed down. And actually, you sometimes will be surprised to say, why are these things, where did this person get the money and all that? Some people are surprised of when they look at some people, why we are on the same salary, but that's one of the secrets there. We have some people who actually testify to say, oh, I want to thank my chair because she has done this for me. That one is only a blessing, which means if you have an investment interest going into your investments there. Saving is important. Saving is important. Proverbs 21 verse 20, there is desirable treasure and all in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man squanders it all. So if you are foolish, you squander whatever you get. But if you are wise, it is important for you to make a saving. Keep out of debt. Proverbs 22 verse 7. The rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. So usually, if you are a borrower, if you are a borrower, you are a servant to the lender, because the lender actually gives out the rules, and you only have to follow those rules. You don't have a say if you are a borrower. You just have to do what the debt person is saying. There are covenants, just like our countries in Africa and all that. Because they borrow so much from the west or from the east, from the south, whatever. When they borrow, they have to give something in return, and you keep on being poor because you are always being a servant to the lender. So let's keep out of debt as families, as women of God. Let's try to keep out of debt. Let's reduce our debt so that we are actually providers of debt, or of the debt. We should be on the other side of the table. Keep records, budgets or planning, whatever. Proverbs 21 verse 5, the plans of the diligent leads surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty surely to poverty. So the plans of the diligent leads surely to plenty. So if we want ourselves to leave the legacy, leave inheritance to the children of our children, and myself, I would say the children of also the children, which means I'm living. My aspiration is I want to live for my children, then my children's children, then children of children, which means Iris' child should be able to inherit what we have worked for. So we are working so hard we are working so hard, and we need to use what we are working for, and have what we are working for, to use that wisely. We are not only leaving legacy for, like, say, we don't need to just leave financial or what, we also need to leave our wisdom to our children, which means we have to teach our children how to manage finances, and also be with our children on financial matters as well, so that we actually they actually use that money, or they actually use that inheritance with wisdom. Because some people, you have seen, I've seen, like, if I give example of some bus companies which used to be there long back when we grew up, those buses are no longer there. Why? Because the person just left those inheritance, but the people who inherited did not even have wisdom. So we should not only leave financial gains or financial items to our children, but we should also leave the wisdom, or even the spiritual understanding which we have, which means we should have godly wisdom. We teach our children of God, about God's word and what God says about, even if it's money terms. It's not just saying we need people to prosper, but we have to do it in God's way, and also teach that to our own children. I would like to say thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share with you. I hope one or two people have actually gained, or one or two people have actually gained what they got from this teaching. And maybe next time someone will be actually saying, oh, from that teaching, I actually did this. Because the way, when you are teaching, it means after teaching, you have to go and do something. That's the main thing. When you are teaching, what has been taught should be done. So if one or two people can actually go and do something about it, that will be worth our time to be here on the platform, and time to be here listening. I know I've been talking for a long time. So for this to not go into vain, let's just go and practice. Maybe some of you are already practicing, but let's go and practice, so that we leave the legacy, we leave inheritance to the children of our children of our children. Thank you very much. I give this time back to you, Mrs. Simrape.
Mashita, Mama Mtamiri, thank you so much. What a very informative teaching. Tisingapedze nguva handidzokorodze, handichita handiti 1 or 2 pamwe tese tatodzidza, zvatadzidza tochinozviimplya, tochinobvunza vamwe vane information kuti how did you do it, varipo vane mai Mtamiri vatotaura. Those who wants to know about my funeral policies, those who want to know about my clubs which are going around in the Zimbabwean community, new people who are among us, feel free to contact any of our members here. They have lots of information. A few minutes that are nazo, I'll put through this to people who have any burning questions. Kuna mai Mtamiri, kana even vamwe vari pakati pedu vane vanokwanisa kupindura some of the questions tichareswa. Ndichangoita highlight through, kana ndingatingoita highlight through my questions yayo, tione kubatsirikana kana pane vane ma questions. Question and answer time in a short period.
I'm sorry, Mai Murapi, ndatisanyanya kupedza nguva. Ndinoda kunyanya utenda. Mai Mtamiri, mazvita ndatoitawo ka take away message count 50, 30, 20. Regai inini testimony. It's not a question. Mai Mtamiri, if you still remember very well, pane retreat yatakaita nevakaenda yatakaitira ku Heritage Hotel Port Lish. Mtamiri vakandiudza chinhu chandakarealize vakati unoona munhu achiita chikwereti aine mari kusaving. Ndaiwo one of those people. This is a testimony. Mari yanga iriko kumashares credit union. Apa ndatora chikwereti chemota. As I'm speaking here zvino mumba muno mune policy yekuti hakuna chikwereti as long as kune mari kumasavings. Tiri kubvira kutora zvinhu zvedu kesho kuti ukati dhi pano hatina chikwereti. Makazviita Mtamiri, tinoramba tiri kudzidza nhasi. Ndatora 50-30-20 rule. Mazvita Mwari aramba achikupai wisdom. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Andibvunze mubvunzo, handizoziva kana kasumudza ruoko ndinozokwanisa kuona here kuti pane maoko akasumudza platform. Any questions towards Mtamiri or just to the floor? Okay, kana pasina kana muri kupa ndikabvunza mubvunzo yangu vamwe vanokwanisa kuteta ma-ideas. I think tasarwa ne about 5 minutes. Mtamiri, thank you so much. Mataura nezve ma-wheels. But mukufamba kwatiri kuita tiri kunzwa vamwe vari kuti ma-wheels ane ma-advantages awo nema-disadvantages awo. They are now talking about living trust. I don't know if there's anyone who can help us kuti chichingatitire zvakanaka nekufamba chisira inheritance kuvana vedu. Should we go for wheels of living trust nema-advantages acho Mtamiri?
In area ndisinganyatsozvi because that's very legal. Zvinhu zviri very legal of which zvinoda kuenda the legal way. Munhu anogona, I think it's something which we can arrange is through me and my chair. We can have someone who can actually talk to us about that, to say wills or trust. How does that go and all that? I've heard of that, and usually both ways. Kuna trust as well, anoita fair foot. Depending, because trust will be run by people as well. So those tinogona kuti tinoita izvozvo zvokuti titsvage munhu anotidzidzisa, especially on ma-wills nema-trust yo, then which means kuti kana toda munhu anenge ari a legal person.
Okay, thank you so much on that question. And the other one, I think this one is not only directed to Mtamiri, is directed to everyone kana vanosenza mu-HSE. Pane mumwe munhu anokwanisa kuuya nequestion yekuti inini ndiri ku-private hospital or ndine in a private area, but vanhu vachiti the best place yekusenza is HSE. It's because they provide pension. Pana anokwanisa kutsanangura kuti mapension emu-HSE, it could be something personal, but I think zvinogona kutibatsira tese kuti kana takuita ma-decision okuti should I gain employment mu-HSE because of sick leave, because of pension. The pension in HSE or anoprovidwa nema-employers, are they contributed by the employer or are they contributed by the individual is contributing themselves, or it's 50-50?
Inini mazira tunoita chinhu chinonzi ma-HSE, because inini ndakubva ku-private ndiri kuenda ndawana basa mu-HSE, saka ndandine PRSA as pension. Vakanditi you can't continue having a PRSA, a public service pension is different. It's not like contributory pension, but it's a defined benefit, which means they actually say you are going to get so much at the end of your you are going to, at the end of 65, you are going to get such amount. So my defined benefits, my pension as sawaniki, my private companies are actually my defined benefits, because my economic crashes are chiyekuti munhu anogona kupinda basa nhasi, but off famangwana that amount yakangonzi defined benefit ndo yaanofanira kupuwa. So saka kwakungoitwa ma-contributory pensions yekuti what you contribute then employer will contribute. Ndo mazhinji ma-private anoita ma-PRSA, but I understand that it's a very good pension, but also we need munhu anoziva nezvema-pensions to explain that.
Okay, thank you so much. Any other questions?
I'm sorry, Mtamiri, just to add on to what Mtamiri has said. You would find it even equal to HSC kwacho vanhu vakazojoina after 2013 kwane a different pension package whereby you are going to pay yourself into it. Sekutsanangura kwakuchita mai Mtamiri kune yakunzi superannuation yekuti unenge uchibhadhara, but even vacho vakajoina kudhara before 2013 there's an opportunity yekuti you can increase your pensions payment unogona kuwedzera mari kuti uzowana mari yakati wandei.
Thank you so much, Major Chair. Anyone with questions? Tisati tavhara. Thank you, Mtamiri. Nemo kana vanhu vachiuya vasina mubvunzo kudai zvirora kuti mataura zvese vanhu vakanzwisisa. Hanzi chasara sekuparidzirwa kwatinoita kwasara kuti tichinozviita. So mazvita aiwa vanhu vakasunungukai, as I said before, kune vanhu vari kuuya muisland for kuti kujoina, please feel free. Mukanzwa kunzi mai Cheya vamo kwezvikore zvakati vabvunzei, ngatisanyaranei, vabvunze kuti what is out there, what is policies dziri kushandira vanhu mudzimba umu, like zvinhu zvakawanda zvisiri directed to our families. Ngatizosunungukai kutobvunzana. Mai Mtamiri, ndichazomungwa makunzwa ndakukufonera kuti mai Mtamiri, policy yedu iyaya inofambiswa sei yefuneral. Mai Mtamiri, let's feel free. Thank you so much. Mai Parere Nyatwa, roko rwakasimuka.
Pamusoro imbati wechigaro, mai Murape, pamusoro chita chose chamwari, inini kwangu kungotenda. Kuda kungotenda mai Mtamiri nenguva yavatora sure to spare time nekuti prepare zvazviri detailed. Ndinoda kungotenda zvizhinji. Chandandoda kungoedhera kungoti papension, kuti kana urikuda even uri muHSC uine stipulated pension, you can still contribute parutivi yeAVC yekuti pauno retire you can have a lump sum. It's something that we have to look at as well. Mashita.
Thank you, Mai Parere Nyatwa. Pane mumwe here? Tibatsirewo kana pane mumwe roko rwakasimuka ndisiri kuona. Aiwa, I think ndizvozvo. Thank you so much. Ndoda kukutendai mose muri pano, manga muri kuteerera, muri kutivira. Tinodarira kuti tadzidza zvidzidzo zvedu. Ndichakumbira mumwe chete wedu atiimbire tichipinda munamato wekungoita thank the teaching yanga iri pamberi pedu. Ndokumbirawo
vaimbi tichazoimba kana mukaramba makanyarara.
Maitirwa vazotinamatiro just to thank the word.
Makorista anenge asiri kuda kuimba nhasi. Zvakanaka kuva pano kudzidziswa nekudzidza nekutenda izwi rake murujeko rwake. Ngatifambe murujeko rwake Kristu. Ngatifambe zvakanaka murujeko rwake. Mumashure meupenyu tinoenda kuna Baba tichigara naye iyo nekusingaperi. Ngatifambe murujeko rwake Jesu. Ngatifambe zvakanaka murujeko rwake.
Thank you so much Mazvita nekuimba kwakanaka. Tichanzwa kunamata kubva kuna Mai Mwaitirwa.
Mazvita ibatwe chigaro ngatinamatei. Muzita renyu Baba neremwanakomana neremudzimu unoera. Mwari Baba, toda kungokutendai nezuva rino ranga rizere Mwari Baba nehuepo hwenyu matiri nepatiri pose Baba. Tinokutendai Jehovha nechirongwa chatanga tiinacho panguva ino. Apa matiunganidza semadzimai veRRW yeROI. Muchitipa vhesel yenyu Mwari Baba, amai Mtamiri, kutaura kunesu. Mwari Baba, toda kungokutendai. Toda kungokutendai zvakanyanya Baba nedzidzo yamakavapa, nepozisheni yamakavapa iyoyo, kuti vazokwanisa kuita share kwatiri. Mwari Baba, munazoramba muchiwedzera nekuropafadza pabvadzidzo iyoyi Baba. Tinoda kungokutendai nekudzidza nekudzidziswa kwatanga tiri kuita panguva ino. Tinodzosera mbiri yese kwamuri mutsveni. Mwari Baba makanaka. Manga muri kutaura kunesu Jehovha kuti tinofanira kusiyira vana vedu nhaka. Mwari Baba makanaka. Hanzi charity begins at home. Mai Mtamiri vanga vari kutosiya nhaka iyoyi vachitidzidzisa zvavakadzidza ivo kuti tikwanise kunge tichizviitawo mukati meupenyu hwedu. Mwari Baba, toda kungokutendai. Chivaina umwe naumwe wedu paplatform ino mutsveni. Nedzidzo yatawana Mwari Baba, ngatikwanise kuwanika tichiishandisa in our lives. Ngatikwanise kuwanika Mwari Baba tichiinvolvawo mhuri dzedu pakuronga kuti nhaka igokwanisa kuwanikwawo nevana vedu sekutaura kwanga kuri kuita shoko renyu Mwari. Mwari Baba, tinokutendai. Tinosimudzira zita renyu pamusoro-soro mutsveni. Mazviita otenzi nedzidzo yatawana. Toda kungokutendai Baba, tichingokumbira kuti muzuva rino ani naani uyo anzwa shoko renyu Baba rigoshanda mukati meupenyu hwedu, rigotibatsira kumabasa kwatinenge tiri, rigotibatsira mutsveni nguva dzose. Mazviita okururama. Tinodzosera mbiri kwamuri kubudikidza ndiJesu Kristu tenzi wedu. Amen.
Nawo